The tourism sector remains one of the hardest hit by the global Covid-19 pandemic. The newly gazetted regulations for the management of Covid-19 in this country make it easier for international travellers to come into South Africa. But will that be enough to lure tourists back to our shores? For more on this, we can speak to the Tourism Business Council of South Africa's CEO, Tshivhengwa. Tshivhengwa, always good to have you on News at Prime. So, do these current regulations, temporary as they are, have any significant impact on the tourism industry's ability to perform optimally?
Thank you for having me, Tembekele. Indeed, they do have a significant impact, and they do address some of the issues that we raised with the Department of Health in terms of the children that are under the age of 12. Now they can be able to travel into the country without producing a PCR test or a vaccine certificate. And they also, address the issue of testing in terms of those that have antigen tests. When they, want to come to the country, if they have taken an antigen test from a health professional, they should be able to come into the country. Also addresses the issue of those that have long COVID, whereby, they keep testing positive even though they have recovered. So it simply means that when they want to travel, they may not be able to travel because, they keep testing positive. So therefore, this addresses that issue, because there is a provision that says those that have tested, positive, they can go to the doctor. As long as the doctor writes a letter, they should be able to travel. So it addresses the issues that we have, put out in terms of making sure that, the legislation is progressive. It allows, those that want to travel to trust the system and be able to say, I can go to South Africa in the near future, and I should be able to do so safely.
But of course, as I was saying, we're dealing at the moment with temporary measures as confirmed by the Health Department in the last, 36 hours or so. Now, what we're waiting to hear will be the permanent rules, which will be meant to respond not just to COVID, but other health situations that may arise. Possibly, we may have to do with more mask wearing indoors, continued limits on large gatherings. Would you be comfortable with the rules that we have in place now being carried into the long term?
Well, in the long term, the issue that we have here is that, when it comes to gatherings, of which, if you look at the events and the sporting codes, those who want to go to stadiums, we have been saying that they need to be allowed to go to the stadium in larger numbers, because we cannot have a situation where we cannot have exhibition, conferences, and many other things that we do as a tourism sector or the sporting sector. We need to be able to address those issues and be able to come out of, the current stipulated numbers of indoor and outdoor. So those needs to be addressed. And also we need to understand what is it that's going to, take for the situation to change for the better. Many sporting codes have spoken that, they are unable to run their businesses due to, these restrictions in terms of the limited number of people for indoor and outdoor. The same applies to theaters and many other places whereby, people go to. So what we need to do is to address those issues and be able to give an instruction in terms of what is it that is going to take for us to move from where we are to a better position. So that we need to deal with. Why is this important for tourism? It's because when people travel for sports, they do consume tourism, they consume hospitality, and they do impact our value chain, they rent cars and so forth and so on. So it's very important for us that those issues that are outstanding when it comes to gatherings, when it comes to sporting events, and many others are addressed and addressed swiftly. But more importantly, how do we plan for the future? We cannot go and bid for large events and conferences to come to South Africa if we don't know when, the restrictions are going to be lifted.
So have you...
that we have a restriction that, limits us from doing the work that we can do from conferencing point of view.
So have you made submissions then? The process has now been extended until July. Has the council already given its submissions or made a submission to government as to what you would like to see in the post-consultation phase?
Well, we have made submission as a council, and also our affiliates that are involved in eventing have made, submissions, and many others have done so. So those submissions are in. What we need to do is to discuss how best do we deal with the situation, because gatherings, whether we like it or not, are a significant part of this economy. And also there are many conferences, as I've said, including international conference that may want to come to South Africa to hold their annual general meetings or discuss, matters that are of importance, we need to make sure that we can bid for those conferences. Right now, we cannot bid because we don't know when these regulations will lapse, and we don't know when the changes are going to be. So there's uncertainty there. So we need to figure out how to do that. So we have submitted what we need to submit. We have made sure that we debate this on various platforms, including the NEDLEC Rapid Response Task Team, including NetJoint, and many other platforms that, we debate these issues at. But our concerns are well known. We've made various presentations from the Events Council and many others, that we work with. What's important here is that we need to find a solution to the situation that we are at, to make sure that we open up this space, and those that work within the events, the conferencing, the sporting codes and whatnot are able to have certainty so that they can be able to plan their future. Right now, they don't have certainty in terms of larger numbers than what are stipulated in the regulations.
Tshivhengwa, good to have your time as always. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.